On my alphabetized list, I have Alex. Would you like to do, you know what? Would you like to do a couple of paragraphs there?
Sure. Skookum fight tilkam. Kopakanwe kachilihi. Pus dolo sachli tai wawa. Okuk nsaika paslach kopa masaika kopa okuk chinuk pepa. Sachli tai yaka ot. Okuk. Lukalisti yaka oicha. Kopa okuk slush mamu. Nsaika papa lasavek yaka siatsam kopa nsaika ila pepa yaka. Ila papa la pa. Kodo okuk mamu. Nsaika papa la pa yaka yush tam tam kopoko. Yaka mamu lish okuk mamu kopachnuk pepa. So fight hard, people, everywhere, people, to like I mean, it's like literally beat, but like I think we've seen this a few times as
Total.
As like gain or something, like
there you go. To gain is pretty good. Yeah. Sometimes master, to become really good at.
Right. To master God's words. So we give this to you in this Chinook writing. It's God's path. This is God's path. This is the communion's path. We want to win over everyone to this good work. Our father, the bishop, he told a story to us. He told this a story to our first father, the Pope, about what this work was like. And our father, the Pope, he was happy about this. And he blessed this work. With this work with the Chinook writing.
Yeah, or this work on the Chinook writing, or yeah. Sometimes Copa is the hardest word in the language. It's got to cover a lot of territory, so to speak. Almost the only preposition. Okay, so skukum fight telecom Copa kanuikach elihi pustolos achli dai Wawa. Okuk nitsaka pasach Copa masaika Copa okuk Chinook pepa sachli dai yaka oicha tokok. Lokalisti yaka oicha tokok. Nasaika teki tolok hanui telecom Copa okok tlush mamuk. Nasaika papa lesefek yaka sietsam Copa nasaika ila papa lepap kata okok mamuk. Pinasaika papa lepap yaka yuth damdam Copa okok pi yaka mamuk blesh okok mamuk Copa Chinook paper. Fight hard, people in all countries, to gain the word of God. This that we're giving to you in this Chinook paper, it's the way of God. It's God's path. It's the way of the Eucharist or communion. We want to win over all people to this good work, because the Chinook jargon literacy in BC was seen by the Catholic priests who were promoting it as just the most efficient way of spreading knowledge of Christianity. Our father, the Pope, told our father, the bishop, told our first father, our main father, the Pope, about this work, and our father, the Pope, was glad about this, and he blessed this work on Chinook Pepa. Good, nice, okay.
Quick question here, Dave. How is it then that Skookum Fight, say that was, I mean, Skookum Strong Fight, say, what did Alex, how did you put that, Alex?
I just said fight hard, I think.
Yeah, sorry, okay, fight hard. How does that become fight hard? I look at those two words. I don't argue that that's what it means in the sentence, but how does that?
That's what we'd say in English, but powerfully fight, I guess, would be
adverbs
more literal.
In Chinook Wawa, quite typically the adverb goes up front. So instead of the English order, which would almost always be fight hard with the adverb last, it's what we normally see is things like this: skookum fight. Yeah. Hard fight. Or skookumamuk is another expression, you know, to work hard. To hard work. Let's see. Let me rearrange this so that I can get as much text as possible on one sort of frame. Okay. Let's see how much that helps. All right. Gosh, Norbert, would you take this? It's strangely arranged, but would you take
Hayu, right? Hayu book chi chako kopan saika, wake saya 300. Yeah, Hun Takamanuk, I believe. Pi Hayu Tilikam Tiki Okok book. Kakwa Pus Musaiga Tiki Tlap Okok book. Hlush Hayak Mamuk paper Kopanaiga. Ayak Marsh Musaiga Chikamin Pus Hui Hui Okok books.
And yeah, the only stuff here that's in the shorthand and thus to be taken as Chinook on the original page is this abbreviation NO for number. And then weirdly enough, the writer is using shorthand numerals for the 7 here in the date, 7 January. He has an abbreviation SHA in Chinook Pepa for January, and he used the shorthand numerals to write 1894 1894.
So it didn't say JA. It's something else.
Yeah, or SHA or CHA. Kind of hard to tell sometimes, but it's obviously referring to January, January.
Do we
I mentioned
have
this.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no.
I was just gonna say, do we actually have a word for number that you know of?
It's spelled Nombir.
Right. Is that so? Would people have said that as number?
I imagine. Yeah, because you used numbers quite a bit, say in the earlier stages of the language, Fort Vancouver times. You used numbers to talk about trading this and that. You didn't talk about numbers a whole lot, though, to say a word for number. And so, yeah, there's no standardized old-timey word for number. Down at Grand Ronde, they've wound up inventing their own expressions quite recently for it. When I talk to Grand Ronde folks, their expression has been "quenenicta," so counting thing.
Yeah.
anyway, I was pointing out that these numbers right here, the ones that are not in angled brackets, they're in shorthand in the original, which is a little bit remarkable. There are distinct number symbols, different from English ones in Chinook paper. They just didn't stay in use very long because they were confusing. Alex or Sam, you guys might know why they were confusing number symbols.
I didn't even bother learning them because he never uses them.
He stopped using them. Everybody stopped using them quite early because they were letters.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I see a date like 1894, it looks like some nonsense word like lookapata, or it's just bizarre looking. And so it's as clunky as my experience of ancient Greek or Old Church Slavonic, where numbers were represented by normal letters of the alphabet. That could lead to confusion. Anyway, moving right along, and there's this, Norbert.
Column, right? But that's the same text, right?
Yeah.
Kamloops Wawa Yaka Hyun Snow Okok. Masaika Wawa Kupa Kanaway Masaika. So on. Right. Now I think I know all the words in the sentences. Let's string them together. Hayu book. That's a lot of books. Have newly come to us. That's to the Father Lejeune. So newly arrived at us, and there are nearly 300. And many people desire those books. And this way, there's no and, I just said and. This way, in order for you people, that's an if here. If you people want to get this book, you should quickly mamuk paper, write a letter to me, and quickly send your chikamin, your money to trade, to buy those books. I remember hui as trades. So the Kamloops Wawa is now 3 years old. 3 snows. And I say to all of you.
Right, and then cut you off there. Yeah, or the screen break cuts you off. Okay, hayumase. Hayubuk ki chako kupanasaika. Wixea 300. Bihayu telecom teki oko book. Kakwa? Plus masaika teki apoko book. Slush ayak mangmuk pepa kopanaika. Ayak mash masaika chikaman plus hoi ukok books. And then, this is issue number 112, 7 January 1894. Kamloops Wawa Yaka Hlun Snow Okok. Nasaika Wawa Kopakanawe Masaika. So yes, a lot of books have just arrived to us, nearly 300, and many people want these books. So if you folks want to get this book, you should, please, you could translate shares, please quickly write to me, quickly send your money in exchange for these books, pus hoi hoi, to trade for these books. And down here, Kamloops, this is Kamloops Wawa's 3rd year. That's almost the 3rd anniversary of the newspaper, yeah. We say to all of you, and then to be continued here, and allow me to fix the spelling of one of these ayat occurrences. Look, oh, here's what we say to all of you. Happy New Year. And that's the only expression I've ever found in Kamloops Wawa's universe in Chinook. They just, guess what? They borrow something from English that everybody is saying on the street. Happy New Year. And I wanted to show this, perhaps tedious seeming, repetitive bunch of text here. Many issues of Kamloops Wawa start with a religious calendar. This is a real Catholic tradition, so that you can keep track of, which saint's day today is, or what festival is today. And there, if I had to minimize all of you in order to see this in its entirety myself. But yeah, the calendar for January 1894, and it does tell, in Chinook writing, what each day is. For example, January 1, the circumcision Kopa Shisikri, and a little cross symbol to show that it's very, very holy. The 8th day after Jesus was born, I do believe. The circumcision, of course, there's no, established word in the jargon for circumcision. So that right there is borrowed from English, right? And just to run through this real briefly, I want to point something out. You have January 2nd, Saint Etienne. January 3, Saint Jean les Apôtres. January 4, Saint Telesphore. January 5, Saint Genevieve. January 6, l'Epiphanie. January 7, Epiphany Sunday. That pair of days right there is an illustration of something going on in Kamloops, Wawa, kind of the names of official things, saints and days and festivals and so forth in Catholic talk. The thing is, there's a kind of alternation. Oh yeah, also in people's baptismal names that we have seen, there's an alternation, kind of freely between English and French. So you have one day is l'Epiphanie from French. The next day is Epiphany Sunday from English, followed by Epiphany Llunson, right? So the 3rd day of Epiphany. Epiphany Lakatson, Epiphany Plenumson, Epiphany Dachumson, Epiphany Sinmoxson, Epiphany Kopet, the end of Epiphany. January 14th, Shisikri Yakanim, the festival of the name of Jesus. I'm going to switch to the other column here, Saint Antoine Abbot, the abbot Saint Anthony or Antoine. Saint Pierre Yakamitlet Copa Rome on January 18th. Saint Peter is in Rome. That's, Pierre from French for Peter in this case. Saint Canute Tailly, martyr. So that's Saint Canute, king and martyr. We have Saint Fabian P. Saint Sebastian, martyr. Saints Fabian and Sebastian, the martyrs. And so on and so on. Skipping down January 23, Shisikri's Copa Garden. So there's, another recent loan from English that I'll bet you everybody knew. Almost everybody had a garden at this time in both, sort of native and settler communities. And so on and so on, little farther down, St. John. So that's from English. But somewhere else on the same page, right here, there's a Saint Jean, right, from French. So it's just sort of funny. You get this free alternation. Sometimes you see names in French, sometimes in English, that the fathers were sort of introducing to indigenous people.
And it also shows you how plurals became singulars with the apostles, because there was one apostle in French. It would have to be something like l'apôtre, right? But
that's right.
Les apôtres. So they were always saying les apôtres. No, it's the plural of all the apostles, and then it's just affixed to the name.
Yeah, good point.
The word for bishop was les évêques, yeah, several bishops.
Yeah, good point there. Yeah. We saw that just above, Nisaika, Papa les évêques, our father. And then, the word in French means the bishops, but it's used as one bishop in Chinook Wawa. And similarly, right here, les apôtres is describing this one person, St. John, even though in French it's plural. The joys of Pidgin and Creole languages for you there. Here, it's just a real short piece, a short paragraph, which I'll take on just to get it out of the way. We have a little thing titled Reverend Father Pétavin at Kamloops. Father Pétavin was mostly stationed in Stalo territory, down the Fraser River closer to Vancouver, BC. He was known as the Stalo priest, Stalo Leplet, and he here is visiting Kamloops at the holidays. So, Per Pétavin mitlait alta Copa Kamloops, Ilip Yakamamuk Copa Kamloops Tillicum Wakesaya Christmas. Okok Yakamamuk, the Okok Nisaika Mamuk Kanamakst Nisaika Alta Siatsam Copa Nisaika. And I have to admit to you folks, I was up late last night taking care of some stuff, so I'm a little slow this morning. Let me try and translate this for you live. Per Pétavin is now at Kamloops. Ilip Yaka Mamo Copa Kamloops Tillicum Wakesaya Christmas. So first he worked with the Kamloops people, the native community, near Christmas. Okok Yaka Mamuk, what he worked on, what he did. Okok Nisaika Mamuk, and what we did, or Father Lejun did, Kanamakst, what we did together, Nisaika Alta Siatsam Copa Masaika, we, meaning Father Lejun, now tell to you. So this is just introducing the next piece, which is titled Our New Catechism House at Kamloops. I found this very interesting. I've told you guys this. The Kamloops was the institution where people gathered to learn and teach the Chinook Pepa, writing and reading. This was a very popular movement, massively popular. I think this piece will help you kind of understand about that. So Sam, would you like to take on this description?
Okay, Kamloops Tillicum Chi Kopet Ich Hayash Catechism House. Unum Tatlam foot long, P Mox Tatlam Blacket foot wide, P Tatlam P clone foot Sakali, Yaka roof, waist foot more Sakali. Mislite Mox, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mislite Mox Laport P Stotkin windows, Tatram P Mox lights, Tatram times Tatram P Lacket, Wok Ik window Copa Sakali, Copa Ik Laport, Mislite Tanas house post Mamuk Kakshit win, He Copa Ik Laport, Mislite Ik house Copa High stick, Tatlam P Mox times Tatlam P Stotkin. Trush Okok house, Trun La Plash, Mislite Conway Kach, P Wok Okok paper, Yaka name tar paper, Kakwa Wake Kata, whose win Chaco Copa Okok house, Copa Mamuk Okok house, Klaska Iskam, 20,000 foot lumber, or Mox Mox Tatlam Iastukamonic foot lumber, $13, Ichtausen, $260, wood, 400-pound nails, $20, 12,000 shingles, $30, 60 windows, $20, tar paper, $30, hay, Copa carpenter, $60, stove, $50, Conaway, $410.
Yeah.
Chickamonic, the Patlam, Chickaman.
That's saying those numbers is a lot of work.
Yeah. So I'll just now, Kamloops people, they've just finished this big catechism house, 50-foot long, 24-foot wide, 13-foot high, and the roof is 9 foot more high. There is 2 doors and 8 windows, 12 lights, and 10 by 14
Inches probably.
Oh, and 1 window on the top, and on the door there's a little house. No, on the door of the little house, in order to beat the wind, and 1 door.
Oh, house also means room. Tennis house especially means room.
Oh, tennis house is room. Okay, it's like tennis house in a room. To mamuk kakshit, like to beat,
To break.
break. Oh, break the windbreaker. And 1 door on the house is on the pia stick, wood, a burning stick, burning wood.
I had to think about this. Yeah. So on the other door, there's a room for pia stick because there's stoves inside.
Oh yeah, for the firewood.
Yeah.
Firewood. Yeah. And good, this house. 3 planks are everywhere, and also this black paper. Its name is tar paper. Like it will never let the wind into the house.
Mm-hmm.
On this house, they take 20,000 feet of lumber, $13 1,000, 260, 400 pounds of nails, and 12,000 shingles, and 60 windows, tar paper, and you had to pay the carpenter $60, and the stove was $50, and all of together it was $410.
Yeah. Good. Yeah. Again, quite a bit of work in that chunk. So Kamloops Telecom Chikopet I Hayas Catechism House, 50-foot long, P 24-foot wide, P 13-foot Sachali, Yaka roof 9 foot more Sachali. Mislite Mox Laport, P 8 windows, 12 lights, 10 times 14. I like how Sam handled that. I do think that's a measurement of inches size, and inches is a word we also find in this area. Wucht icht window kopa sachali, kopa icht laport mislite dunnes house. Here I can hyphenate that. Why don't we say That's how they do it at Grand Ronde too. Dennis House for a room. Plus Mamu Kakshit Win be Copa Ich Laport Mitleid Ich House Copa Paya Stick 12 times 18. That's probably foot in size of that room. Flush Okok House. Floon, and I wonder if this is a typo for flush. We'll come back to that. La Plage, Mitleid Kanwikach be Wucht. Sorry. Editing in real time is a messy business. Mitleid Kanwikach be Wucht Okok Little Paper Yaka named Tar Paper. Kako Wekata plus Win Chaco Copa Okok House. Copa Mamo Okok House Klaska Eskam 20,000 foot lumber, $13 ich thousand, $260. Wucht 400-pound nails, $20. 12,000 shingles, $30. 60 windows, $20. Tar paper, $30. Paye Copa carpenter, $60. Stove, $50. Conaway, $410. So the Kamloops people have just finished a big catechism house. This word catechism is kind of odd. Typically we see either catechism from English or le catéchisme from French. And this is what happens sometimes where you get a hybrid of the two. Catechism house, 50 feet long and 24 feet wide and 13 feet tall, and its roof is 9 feet more tall. More is a genuine BC Chinooquawa word. I've seen it in the Kamloops area. It was also mentioned in a 1945 scholarly paper by Irina Victoria Grant in BC. Mitleid Moxtlaport, there are 2 doors and 8 windows, 12 lights, which are apparently 10 by 14 inches. And there's also a window above. At one door, there's a room to break the wind, to Mamut Kakshit Win. And on one door, or, as we know, one can mean the other door, there is a room for firewood, 12 by 18 feet in size, I imagine. This house is nice. And I don't really think it's saying Clun La Plage. I think the writer, absent-mindedly wrote Clun, which is 3, when he meant Clush, which is good. So let's say there's good boards everywhere. All right, so it's good lumber everywhere. And also there's that black paper, which is called tar paper. So there's no way for the wind to come into that building. In building this house, they took, and this is actually a way to say needed, sometimes similar to English, you can say, it takes $20, right, to purchase such and such. Well, here, to build this building, they took 20,000 feet of lumber, $13 a thousand, therefore $260. Also 400 pounds of nails, $20. 12,000 shingles, $30. 60 windows, that's $20. Tar paper was $30. The pay, or the wages, for carpenters, probably plural carpenters here. And this is just how Chinooquawa works. You just say carpenter for one or many of them. The pay for carpenters, $60. The stove, $50. Everything altogether, $410. And so there's some new English words borrowed in there, as we, are accustomed to see in BC jargon of the 1890s. That's just what the environment was like. Okay, thank you. And Susan, are you there? Would you like to do this bit?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
To you?
Yes, I can hear all of you really well. Just making sure that I'm not too garbled.
Not
You're
at
good.
all.
Yeah.
Okay. Mock stove midlat kopa okok house. Eat coke stove eat post mamuk wam house. Klaska pape okok mok stove 75 cents. Hayu blue paper midlat Kanawe ka kopa okok house p kopa okok blue paper yaka tsum Kanawe ikta naseka tiki mamuks kumdaks kopa tilakam shushwap tilakam klaska las wait ikta niseka shanti kopa lamas kanawe okok some kopa okok blue paper. Wow, blue paper. Okay. Mok stove. Something about the stove in this house. One cook stove.
Yep,
And
so there are two stoves.
Oh, mokst is two?
There you go.
I'm still a beginner. So two stoves with lat kopa okok in this house and one cook stove. So maybe that might be differentiating between a stove that's warming the building versus a cook stove.
Exactly.
And then to warm this house, to make this house warm. It's probably talking about the pipes for the woods, for the stoves cost 75 cents.
Yeah.
For the two stoves. And then higher blue paper, midlat. Much blue paper
is located.
What is the blue paper? Blue paper is located in this house.
I don't know what blue paper was, but it's always mentioned when the native folks are giving lessons in Chinook writing. It must have been like, what, butcher paper or something? Great big sheets or rolls of paper.
In any chance it's anything like a blackboard?
Yeah, I mean, maybe it is. I haven't found it in English of that time yet, so I don't think I understand blue paper very completely.
Or what about earlier in the paragraph they're talking about the tar paper on the outside that's going to keep the wind out. What if they lined the inside with some paper and then would have put whatever construction for the walls after it was lined with the blue paper?
Yeah, I mean, it might have been a kind of wallpaper or something that you could write on, but that's what we're about to see. Is it's to be written on. So lots of blue paper is
okay, so
everywhere in this house.
Lots of blue paper. House P Copa Okok blue paper, and the blue paper Yaka. I'm not sure.
What? Okay, I'm going to take out
that we make good for all these people.
Yeah, I'm taking out a yaka because of a French accent here. So on that blue paper is written Kanawe Ikta, everything we want.
We know really well.
To teach.
That we want all the people to know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then the Shuswap people.
their, and this is from English,
Their,
laws.
oh, their laws. Okay. And
Also,
the Shanti, and then also we the mass. So he wants them to know all about the mass, la mass.
Yep,
Is that what la mass is, French for mass?
Exactly, yeah.
What we sing in the
at
mass.
the mass.
So then they're going to know the hymns for the mass, and Oka, and all of this is all on the blue paper. So the gist of it is that everybody can see it on the blue paper.
There you go. Yep.
I don't know the exact words, but that's what the gist is.
That's great. Okay, I'll read it as well here. Moxt stove metlai kopa okok house. Ich cookstove ich pust excuse me ich pust mamukwam house. Flaska pipe okok moxt stove 75. It doesn't specify, but I think it's telling the cost of something here, 75 cents. Otherwise, it's 75 feet of pipe, and that seems like a lot in a building that size.
Yeah.
Or maybe everybody knew of a size 75 pipe. I don't know that either, but I'm just okay. Lots of blue paper is everywhere in this house, and on that blue paper is written everything we want to teach to the people. The Shuswap people, their laws, the Shuswap people's laws. That's very interesting. Also, what we sing at Mass all together, all of it. This is written on that blue paper. The Shuswap people's laws very likely refers to sobriety laws. There are many different sobriety pledges or temperance pledges published in the Kamloops Wawa, which were typically written in Chinook Wawa, and then folks would sign it. They'd sign their name in Chinook Pipa.
Thanks. That was really interesting because it kind of shows how important context is. Because if you don't really know what the blue paper is, then the rest, like that was an interesting paragraph. Thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate you taking that on. And, you kind of showed right there, you can pick stuff up, as you.
And it also shows you're working around the context. And if you get the main context, then the rest unfolds.
Yep.
Thanks.
You are welcome. And thank you for using the word context, because that's what I preach all the time with jargon. If you're not quite getting what's being said yet, hang in there and, listen for more clues. It'll come to you.
Mm-hmm.
How much of this can I get on one screen at a time? Alex, back to you. Let me just experiment with, gosh darn. When I magnify this much, I can't get very much material on a single screen. So I'm going to go up to this period here, and over to you, Alex.
Ankati Kamloops Tilachum Hayas Lachayam Kupahelo House Mithlike Bus Mamuk Lakata Shism Hayu Tilachum Mishlite Kamloops Tilachum Flaska 250 Bewake Gata Chaco Konamox Kupa Icht House Kupit Sunday House Bielda Kopit Oko House Bidlet Hayas Kopa Conaway Tilachum Kamloops Tilachum Chaco Conaway Kopa Oko House Bihalo Dlet Pash Hayas Kopa 400 Tilachum Pipus Ilip Hayu Kopa 400 Hayu Ilahi Wuch Kopa Sachli Flush Kopa 200 Wuch Tilachum. So long ago, the Kamloops people were really poor, wretched, because they didn't have or Poshelo house, because there was no house to do the catechism. Many people, there were many people. The Kamloops people, they are 250, and couldn't come together into one house, only the Sunday house, that the church. But now it's done, this building, and it's really big for all the people. The Kamloops people come all into this house, and it isn't really full. More than 400 people. How big for 400 people?
Yeah,
Sorry.
so big enough.
Yeah. People's and if there's more than 400 people,
It's a weird
lots
use
of lots of space, maybe, also for
That's what I see.
So lots of space also, Kopasachli above. Good for another 200 people.
Yeah, and these claims surprised me. This is still talking about the catechism house, the classroom building. Because again, if I look at the measurements, what were they? 50 feet by 24, 13 feet high, plus another 9. So we're saying in 1,200 square feet, and maybe a smaller upper floor, you can fit in 400 plus 200 people. That sounds real crowded to my brain.
Well, and then you wonder why smallpox spread.
Yeah. Yes.
You got them crowded all in there every Sunday for Mass.
Yeah.
If I can ensure there's a real insight into Kamloops' life at this point. The carpenter was paid $60 for producing this. He was Tahayim indeed. How long do you suppose it took? 3-4 weeks to produce it, and he was paid $60?
And it wasn't the work of one person. That's right.
Yeah.
From other news articles, other evidence in Kamloops Wawa newspaper, we know that most of the males in the community donated a lot of labor to build a church, and we see this in every one of the communities where we learn about church being built. The carpenter would be kind of maybe just the person who got to be the boss of the whole job, but everybody else was paid nothing. There wasn't much cash in circulation, as we so often read in this newspaper. So people, to contribute, they had to donate labor. They just didn't have money generally to throw around. So yeah, it is quite the picture of the community life right here. And going through that again, Ankati Kamloops Tilcham Hayas Lachauyam Kopahelo House Mitleid Bus Mamuk Le Catechism. Hayu Tilcham Mitleid Kamloops Tilcham Slaska 250 Be Wik Kata Chaco Kata Max Kopa Echt House Kopet Sunday House Pialta Kopet Ogok House Be Dlate Hayas Kopa Kanaway Tilcham Kamloops Tilcham Chaco Conaway Kopa Ogok House Pihalo Dlate Pat Hayas Kopa 400 Tilcham Be Bus Ilip Hayu Kopa 400 Hayu Ilahi Wacht Kopa Sachale Tlush Kopa 200 Wacht Tilcham. in the past, Ankati, the Kamloops people were very poor from there being no building for doing catechism, for teaching, for education. Many people are there. The Kamloops people are 250 people. It's one of the biggest historically, and still kind of the biggest Secwepemc community. And there's no way, or they can't get together in one building, only in the church. But now this building is finished, and it's delayed hayas. It's truly big enough for all the people. The Kamloops people come, all of them, into this building, and it's not entirely full. It's not really full. It's big enough for 400 people. And if more than 400 are there, there's lots of ilahi, there's lots of quote unquote land, or space, in other words, also up above. So it seems to be talking about a second story. And that's good for 200 more people. And thank you. Norbert, would you like to do this little bit here? I see that our hour is already almost done.
Yes, that's right. Ankadi le plate hayu Wawa kopa tilikam whose chago kopa le catechism kopa tai house pi kopa icht house pi wake kada. Kanaway tilikam kamdax tleitanas okok house pi alda halo kakwa. Le plate halo hayu Wawa kabit icht yaka Wawa pi kanaway tilikam chako kanamoxt kopa okok chi house. Let's see, Ankati is earlier, formally. The priest was always speaking to the people to come for catechism to the Tai house, to the chief's house.
Mm-hmm.
And to one house, chief's house, and to one house. But it wasn't possible. There was no way. All the people learned very little. Or
all the people knew.
Oh, good. Yeah. All the people knew that it was very small, this house.
Yeah.
Right. And then and just have to think that Alda is now. And now it's not this way.
Mm-hmm.
The priest doesn't always talk.
That's contrasted with this.
Yeah. And only he says. Oh, he's not speaking loudly, or he's
hello hayu alta kopet icht yakawawa.
Oh, he's not always talking, or he's not talking that much. Not giving as many sermons.
That's probably not true.
Might we hyphenate Kopadish?
My instinct was at first to do that, and then I screamed at myself, no, don't. Because Kopadicht usually means alone.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Only.
Ich, well, here, ich means ich times. How about that?
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Only once then.
Mhm.
Only once he tells the people to gather at the new house.
So yeah, this is a lovely example, this short selection that to show you how standing back a few inches further, unfocusing your eyes a bit can help. This sentence is easier to understand, as a whole than to understand piece by piece. In the past, le plate hayu wawa, maybe I should unhyphenate that expression right there. Le plate hayu wawa kopa tilchum pus chaku kopa lekatishisam kopa tai house, pi kopa icht house, piwe kata, kanui tilchum kumtux leitanas okok house, pi alta helukakwa, le plate helo hayu wawa, kopet icht yako wawa, pi kanui tilchum chaku kanamoxt kopa okok chi house. So here, yeah, I'm gonna experiment with what I just talked about. In the past, the priest quite a bit talked. He had to talk and talk to the people to come to catechism at the chief's house, and at another house, Icht house. And it wasn't possible. Everyone knew that those houses were really small. But now it's not so. The priest doesn't have to talk and talk, doesn't have to do a lot of talking, persuading. Just once he talks, and all the people meet up at this new building. So life
confusing because it's the literal meaning of Kopadish instead of the usual meaning.
Right. Yeah, so it's kind of like just once, or just one thing does he have to say. And there's a whole lot of implication in that that little selection that we looked at of having to do this or that. In Chinukwa, typically there's no words for have to. And so it's yet another thing that's taken care of by context and by tone of voice and by setting up sort of contrasting situations. Here's how it was before, here's how it is now, and so forth. So quite interesting stuff, yeah. Thank you, everybody. I think we did a full hour there.
Wonderful.
Quite quickly.
Thank you all. We'll see you all next week.
Yes, I'll see.
Unless anybody has anything they want to add at this point.
Klako,
Okay.
klako, klako.
When is the next cultist Wawa coming out?
I don't know. maybe I'll start writing it. I haven't started anything.
A long time. Congratulations. Okay.
Thank you all. Thank you very much, Dave. See you folks next week.
Ayamasi afke icht week.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Hayamasi.
Ayamasi.
Hayamasi.